Hi all, welcome to the second webinar of SIPSA. Today we have guests from all over the world for wonderful countries such as Sri Lanka, Mexico, Nigeria, Arabic Saudi, Spain, United States of America, United Kingdom, or Spain. I'm Jorge Fernández, IT analyst of SIPSA, a company with more than 35 years in the IT and communication sector, and with customer leaders in their respective fields. If you have any question during the webinar, please leave in the chat, and we will be thanks to answer you afterwards.
Today, we will talk about the importance of test automation, manual versus automated testing, the GUI HTML adapter and their functions, UML diagrams and mapping, test set execution, interesting features, record and playback, and upload results to Medallion. Okay, the importance of test automation. It's important to have a quick overview of what automation is and why a company will be interested in automating their testing. For that, we will make a brief comparison between automated testing and manual testing. The automated testing or test automation is a method in software testing that makes use of special software tools to control the execution of tests and then compare actual test results with predicted or expected results. The manual testing is a type of software testing where testers manually execute test cases without using any automation tool. Manual testing is the most known method for testing to help uncover bugs in software programs. Both methods are important to ensure quality within software development, and both can and usually coexist in most software projects. Firstly, we should define the test case. In this phase, the manual aspect of testing is particularly important as it will define how the test case will be designed and tested. When this is done, let us make or adapt our script in the automating deployment cycles, and this will translate to cost savings that you can dedicate to other resources you may need, amongst other benefits such as shorter testing cycles, higher quality in your software, but also in the test process. So how does TAST automation the test process? TAST is a complete multi-layer solution that uses standard UML sequence diagrams that provide a natural language to share the test script with the business partner, establishing their involvement in the testing and acceptance process. What advantage does TAST offer to you? Easy regression testing, performance of testing sessions in a fast and efficient way, reducing testing times, cost savings once a new iteration is needed, and quick return on investment. However, today we will concentrate on one aspect of the tool which is focused on web testing, the GUI HTML adapter. This adapter is the one that we use for automating web pages and all interaction with the front end. It's very common to use it for end-to-end test cases that will simulate the process that will be done by an ordinary worker or customer from logging into the application to buy, sell of a product. Let's go through the application to show you what it's all about. The areas where we will focus today are modeling and test results. If you need more information about the rest of functionalities, you can take a look to the last webinar by my colleague. We will enter in modeling area, and I will show you what we are talking about. Here we have the different functionalities. This one is for modeling. Okay, first of all, we have to create a diagram with the top right button, plus button. Here we have different parameters as domain, project, folder, diagram name, diagram description, copy diagram from. This will select a diagram, assisted diagram as template, and the visibility. Okay, we create it, and now we have to write the two objects, the user adapter and the GUI HTML adapter. The user adapter is where the message comes from. The adapter is always set as the file as user, and the GUI. Click on the object mapping, and we see the parameters to set up the parameters. First one, the URL. You can define it as hardcode if that will be the only one that you want to interact to, or it can be dynamic, present as variable. For this case, we will choose the variable. The second parameter is the browser. We can interact with the former commons browser used: Chrome, Internet Explorer, Edge, and Mozilla Firefox. We also have app Android test. Okay, the next parameter that we will talk about is the validate insert values. This interesting feature will indicate if the adapter should validate or not the values that are received during the execution. It's very useful for the filling of forms or questionnaires. By default, it's in ticket. We will leave it unchecked. The next parameter is the full screenshot. With that, you can take a full web page screenshot. That means that if the page, for example, have a scroll bar, it will take all the scroll down page. And the next parameter is the incognito mode. As the name says, you can navigate in incognito mode through the web page. Okay, next topic, we will talk about the PFs or predefined functions. We have to write it. And here we have the different parameters as name. You can put a name to the step, and the different step that we have all interaction with the front end possible that you can imagine. Checkbox, clear, click and hold, close window, file download. You can download a document. The same for upload. So many more. So much more. Right? We will take as a sample for see the mapping, the message mapping, we will select the validate attribute. We have some more parameters as the login step. You can choose if your test case, in case of fail, it will finish the optional step. Comment out, you can decide if the step will be executed or not. A breakpoint. Description, you can write a brief description about the step. It's just for you that the guard that will indicate the conditions of the step. For example, we will say that if a previous validation is true, you can execute or not. The repository, if you have created one, you can choose it. We will talk in another seminar about it. It's a very interesting feature also. The ID, search by, we can search by some elements. Attribute, this is the attribute to validate. In this case, you can see that we have all the elements that are in the front end, the HTML code, the operator type, and the value for validating. We say the value for validating, not the value for validating, if not and the value to validate. Now I will show you an example of a complex diagram that we have made for production, and I will do a brief explanation of how we did, what is it. And you can see that we have 6 different adapters. 2 of them are for GUI because we are working with 2 different web pages, and the other 3 are for, no, the first one for sure is for the user adapter. As I told you before, we had to write the message from there to the others, and the 3 last that are checking a PDF. We check that all the information that we have introduced before is correct, and we will download it for sure. All right, so you can see we prioritize the use of gates. Now, at this point, I will show you the UML diagrams and mappings. The UML was created to forge a common syntactically rich visual modeling language. For that, we have to map the web page. The first tool that we use is the developer tool of Chrome and Internet Explorer, as you have seen. And the other unique tool that has been developed by my college is the selective mapping. With that, you can pin to the fat bar and start to mapping. You can see that you can search for an element, for example, for class selector, and you can see that check the style, what type of element is it, the class. We will map the search button. Have to press spacebar, and then you can select your class selector, path, or whatever. In this case, we will select the path, and I will show you how to make a search of an element. And you click again spacebar, and you go to the check search by, copy the path, and then you can see in the top right the element highlighted. All right. Now that you know how we work with the GUI adapter, I will show you how is the execution of one test case. To put you in the situation of what the test case is about, it's a simple navigation that with the search of keywords, we will search for a book, and after navigating through the web with a loop, we will proceed to the purchase and creation of an account and at a FNAC, a famous shop in Spain. Okay, first off, I will show you the diagram. Here we have the different functions that we have used for this case. For example, the clicks, the assist, the variables, the steps that are more clear is because they are documented. That means that then will appear in the documents evidence. We have 4 parameters: step name, step description, step result, and step actual result. And you can add a screenshot to the step or a file. Okay. I will show you how to execute the test case with the client. Is that in the client you can see different checkboxes functionalities. The first one is for selecting. The others show your name, last execution time, the step. This tool is the debugger. You can select in which step the diagram will stop. That means that if you want to execute, for example, half of the diagram, you can do it, and the action button that will play the execution. We can upload the results to the machine. Okay, we click on play. We navigate in incognito mode. We click on the search bar. Press enter. Now we will go through the application, the web page, and we will select our book. Okay. Now we have the book. We close the pop-up in case of appears. We add the product to the basket. We validate that the book is the correct one. Now we see what we have in the basket. We end the purchase. Now we go with the creation of an account. First, selecting the handler. In this case, mail. Now name, surname, birthday, password, and lastly, the checkboxes. Right, this takes a little bit. Okay, so now we go to the home page and we close. Now you have to wait until the status. Now for that case, it's okay. I will show you now how is the log files. You can see the folders with the date and time and name of the execution. Open the folder, more descriptions, and you can see the different screenshots with the name and time of the step. You have the log also when you can see more information about the status of the steps and information about the parameters that you have selected in TAST application. Once you have created a test case on the front end, it's especially important to build a good regression. This is one of the main topics in the DevOps world, with fast deliveries almost every week or even days. It's important to ensure regression scenarios to assure continuity of the system. Now I will show you how with TAST we can reuse diagrams and create numerous case studies to ensure good regression. For this, will we use our data management and test set management tools. Okay, we can open data management from the sidebar. I will show you now. Or you can go directly with the link that is in all the diagrams. For this case, we have created two more data apart than the one that we have in the validation column. You can with this tool you can change the variables, the elements that you have typed in, so you can create different test cases only with change the data. In the case of end-to-end, it's very important to use variables in order to be able to do, for example, in our case, many searches. Just by changing a few boxes in the tool, we will be able to create as many cases as we want. So the next step in the constructional regression is the grouping of all test cases in order to execute them in a more comfortable and organized way. So we go to the test management functions, and you can see that we have for now the test case data validation and the second value. For adding them, you have to click on the add test case data, and now go through your domain, project, and folder, select your diagram, and you will see the list with your different test case data. In this case, we just have the third because the other are already added. Select, we add, and now you have a very good overview of how is a test set. Now you refresh in your client, and you see there all together. With just a click, you can execute different test cases and assure that your software has been correctly developed. Okay, next topic, we will talk about the record and playback tool. With this, you will be able to create a test case from beginning to end only with a simple navigation. The record and playback features facilitate the process of mapping the steps of an existing UML diagrams with the real step of an application. It's an aid in the process of model and map we usually use with the rest of TAST tool. With just a few steps, you can install and set up Selenium IDE in your favorite browser and start with the creation of your test case. Now I will show you how to make a simple test case with this tool. This will consist in the navigation of a web page with some clicks and some scrolls. Okay, for that, you have to click on the navbar tool. There we have already added. You can record a new test in a new project. Add your project name. Click OK. Select your URL. We will use the w3schools.com. Copy. Paste. Start recording. Now we will make some clicks and scrolls. Say we will make a simple sample. I just want to show you how to map it. Now rename your test, sample test webinar, click on OK. And save your IDE file. The desktop, for example. Now we need to export the file to the modeling area. For that, we have a button. Click on it, and we select our file. Okay, now we have to select the domain, the project, the folder, diagram name. Okay, the same parameters that before. You can make a brief description. Now click on import. Now, and you see that's all the different functions that we have done over the web page has been mapped there. All right, next point that we will talk about is about upload results to LAM. TAST can upload test evidence and result to LAM tool in order to integrate both tools. Depending on how you want to upload them to LAM, TAST offers different alternatives that you can use at your convenience. Sometimes you might want to optimize your time by running your tests with an uploading to LAM, with the idea of uploading them later on. When you are satisfied with the results, or just because you want to log them while you have lunch. Okay, now we show you the results page. Have different filters. For example, the set, the user, when has been executed, and the status of the execution. Okay, we have different executions of my test case. That one is the last that we have done before. You can select as acceptance. You are agree with your results and you want to make a faster charge later. And the different functionalities. This will indicate if the document has been uploaded. This will allow you to download the document's evidence, the log, and the information with the path of the test case. The document evidence is in the next way. I already had downloaded from before. You can see information about the description of the diagram, the name, test case data description, number of steps, the diagram description that we told before, the link to diagram, link to test case data, link to the test set, the time. You can see the description of the step, expected actual results, and the evidence, the screenshot. You can see the different functions that we have done. Okay, the first methods allow you to upload directly this document. It's very efficient and it will get a good accounting, ensure of that. And the other method that we have is step by step. That means that the document will not be uploaded, but will be upload the evidence with the step description that you have done in the modeling area and the status of the step. Okay, now that you have seen how to create and execute and upload results to LAM, I will show you the benefits of web test automation, the conclusion. First of all, assure high level of performance, fastest execution, easy regression testing, increase regression test coverage, documentation for audit purposes, and cost savings. So that has been all for today. Thank you for the attendance.
Hope that you have enjoyed for our webinar. It has been a pleasure to share with you my knowledge about TAST application, about test automation. And I hope you to see in the next webinar that it will be better, for sure, always will go for better. Don't forget to follow us in our social media. I leave you here. So that's been all for today. Thank you all. See you in the next webinar. Bye bye.